good morning. Welcome to the board of,
Gotta turn off your microphone.
it was on.
Computer.
It is on. Right there.
Turn off your speaker too, like the F1.
Oh, that took me clear out.
You hit escape there.
All right. Hang on. There we are.
When you said
We're
escape,
back.
I took you seriously.
Yeah, I know. All right, now, starting over. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for November 21st. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance in this moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go on.
You can sit if you want. You need to kneel.
Thinking about too many things. Okay, thank you. First off, we have 3A, request approval of Amendment 1 to IGA 177242. Authorize Mike Rowley to sign, DocuSign. Mike.
Good morning.
Morning, Michael.
This is a state contract for funds for our peer support that are part of.
Commissioners, there's no sound online. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
This is our contract from the state for peer support, two peer support that ride with our MRT team. And this will go through June 30th, 2025.
Okay, motion?
I move the board approves the First Amendment to the IGA number 177242 with Oregon Health Authority and authorize Department Head Mike Rowley to DocuSign.
Go, sir.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, so this is this the first grant award that we've seen under this IGA?
No, this is at least a second. The 598,000 that's listed on here is a combination of the earlier grant of 295, and it's an additional 303,000 for the next 2 years.
Okay.
So it's amendment number 1, so we had one before that.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else? No? Audience? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving to,
I have a late agenda.
yeah, well, moving to, hang on.
Okay.
Moving to 5A, contract with Identity Theft Guard Solutions, IDS. Michael.
Okay, we're not gonna have a requested action for this particular, agenda item. We were not able to finalize the contract, so I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up for that. Coos Health and Wellness, was hit with ransomware earlier this year. And this is the contract to, for a company that will send out all the notification letters, for HIPAA to all of the clients that were involved in that attack.
Okay.
But we're still working on the contract, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So, it's just a bad FYI for us.
we were hoping to get it done today, and then at the last minute, it went sideways.
Okay.
So we'll just take this up at a later meeting when the contract is ready to be signed.
That's That's correct, yeah, it's, more of a, you know, we send our standard, terms and conditions to the contractor, who we, went with after seeking quotes, from at least 3 different contractors. And they just didn't agree with our standard contract, and they have their own, contract that they'd like to use, and so,
A little more negotiation.
battle of the forms, basically, but we should get there.
We'll hear about this later.
I do have a quick question. When this does come around, is this gonna include, some dark web monitoring?
No.
Do we know that?
No, it does not. This is strictly for notification, and it does involve credit monitoring for those that want that.
Alright.
Yeah, notification only for when you were hit,
Right.
but nothing for future to look and see if there's issues before
Well,
it happens.
if you're saying, the credit monitoring will kind of monitor then if other things happen down the road.
Just a suggestion, you might think about having something that would help to prevent this in the future.
Oh, we have done a lot of things in order to prevent this as much as possible. With Darius's help, he has now taken oversight of our network system. And with that, we've replaced our Palo Alto to our firewalls to the next gen Palo Altos, which are the same as the county has. We've added multi-factor authentication. I believe the county has that as well. We moved from our Novell environment to a Microsoft server environment. We have CISA, a cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency, which is a division of Homeland Security. They perform weekly external vulnerability scans, and we review these and mitigate them as soon as possible. We have a log aggregation and analyzer that's up and running that is similar to the county, and these logs are collected and reviewed. We've improved our processes for backup. Our endpoint protection, which was semantic, we have upgraded to Sophos Intercept X, which is also what the county uses. And Sophos will quarantine any device that has been compromised and will notify IT for immediate action. We have a malicious domain blocking and reporting service that will block access to web resources that are identified as unsafe. And we have scheduled a penetration test after all of this has been done to discover more vulnerabilities. That should be within the month, and then we will do that annually.
Get lots of feedback. That sounds good.
Yeah, hopefully we,
Done a lot.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
yeah,
look forward
hopefully
to
we
seeing
can
it.
prevent this. Definitely.
we will look forward to how the penetration test went.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, the 3B request IGA with ODOT for Chandler Coos River Bridge. Road Department, Paul Slater.
Hi, Paul.
So this is just simply an agreement with ODOT. They want to use East Bay Road as a detour while they do work on their bridge, the Chandler Bridge on the Coos River Highway. So this would be just agreeing to let them do that. And as part of that, they will be, they're going to do an evaluation of the road conditions of East Bay before they start using it for the detour. And then at the end, we'll do a evaluation of it. And if there's any damages, they'll be responsible for repairing it.
Okay, motion?
Move to approve and sign IGA with ODOT and Coos County regarding OR 241 Chandler Coos River Bridge Project.
A second?
I second that.
Discussion?
How long do they think this will take? Is it a
I
long?
don't remember the exact time frame, but I want to say it was months.
So everyone coming from up the Allegheny side of Coos River would, and everyone that lives on East Bay will have to,
Yeah, just during daytime hours.
Oh,
Just certain hours during the day.
Uh-huh.
It won't be
but that's
24 hours.
quite a
day.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, there'll be quite a bit of increased traffic on East Bay.
Summertime project or during school?
It's coming up in the spring, I believe it starts.
Wow.
Hmm.
Gonna impact a lot of people.
Yeah.
They gotta do it.
Paul, will that pre-project and post-project inspection of East Bay Road is to determine the amount of additional wear that is imposed on it as a result of the project. Are you gonna participate in both ends of that?
Yes, I will make sure that
Thank you.
myself or my road foreman are involved with that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for the board? No? Audience? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to 3C, update on Coos County Sandy Creek Emergency Relief Project. Paul?
I think there was a question, I think.
Hmm?
I think there was a question.
I just didn't hear the answer to how many months that was for
Don't know. Don't know.
I'm gonna look real quick, see if I can
They said 6 months, it would take 18.
He's looking.
I'm looking, give me a second here. Where's the time? Well, the agreement's for 10 years, but it's not gonna take 10 years.
I suggest moving.
Oh, they gave me a time frame on that. I should have known that before I came here, sorry. I might have to get that and email it to you.
Okay. If you email it to me, I'll get it.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm not
get it
finding
out.
it here real quick.
Okay, okay. Moving on to 3C, update on Sandy Creek.
Okay, so this is just more of a kind of a public announcement more than anything. Part of the requirements under the federal highway rules for the emergency relief funding that we're getting for that project. So this culvert on Sandy Creek Road at milepost 2.7 failed the first time in the winter of 2018. We did a minor repair of the outlet end of the culvert. It subsequently failed again in January of last year, 22. We did a second repair on that where we actually excavated down and kind of ramped in and out of the road fill. And I have some, if you guys are interested, I have a few pictures here. It kind of shows you 3 different time frames there, 2014, 2019, 2022, what the road looks like at that location. So right now, again, this is going to be funded through the Federal Highway Administration's Emergency Relief Program with ODOT administering the funds and the project. Project is expected to go to bid sometime between March and May of this next year, 2024, with construction happening this next summer in 24. So the culvert that's in there right now is a 5-foot diameter round metal pipe. It'll be replaced by a 32-foot long by 28 feet wide single span concrete slab bridge supported on a geosynthetic reinforced abutment. The road and bridge will be elevated approximately 4 feet above the existing grade to accommodate the vertical clearance needed for fish passage and high flows. Stream restoration is going to occur over about a 200 lineal foot section of the stream. This particular stream is an unnamed tributary to Sandy Creek. It's not on Sandy Creek itself. That stream restoration work will include work upstream, downstream, and underneath the new bridge. The replacement structure is triggering fish passage law, and so stream simulation approach was used to design the new channel, both upstream, downstream, and within the bridge crossing itself. Construction of the new structure will occur with a traffic detour in place on the upstream side. We've coordinated with the adjoining landowner for temporary use of their property for that. Once the construction's done, that detour will be removed and the property will be restored. That's about all I got for the summary. Are there any questions?
Questions?
Project's been a long time coming. One other thing I guess I should mention,
Months
the,
have gone into this,
yeah.
a lot of work.
A lot of time.
Thank you.
Well, there was some change in staff at ODOT, the Region 3 local liaison, staff person. They had some switching around in staff members, so there was a long delay because of that, getting it started. But once it got started, it's been moving pretty good. The total estimated cost of this project is $2,658,462 currently. Our portion of that is 10.27%, which equates to $273,024.05.
Okay. Any questions for Paul?
No action required. It's just information.
Nothing at this time, it's just.
FYI.
just a public
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience? Question?
We've also posted this information on the road department, webpage.
All right, thank you. Moving on to 5B. Request award of contract for Rosslyn wall failure.
So we had, oh, that echo is just killing me. Sorry. Anyway, a couple months ago, we had a old pile wall on Ross Inlet Road at milepost 5.05 that tipped over and failed. It was built under some different construction standards than we use today. But it did fail, and we lost about half of a lane, so we had to shut the road down to one lane, which is how it's been since that date. This request is to hire a consultant to do the actual design of a new wall, likely with tie-back anchors to support restoring that second lane and getting the road back open fully. I requested proposals from 3 firms after consultation with council, and we got 2 responses, and Strata Design was the low bidder at $85,620. So we're requesting the board approve award to Strata, and for a not to exceed of $90,000.
Okay, motion?
I move we approve the awarding and signing of a contract with Strata Design to provide engineering and geotech services for the Ross Inlet Wall Failure Project at milepost 5.05, not to exceed $90,000, and authorize Paul Slater to sign.
Okay, second? Okay, discussion?
How long will it take to get that done?
It's estimated 13 weeks for the design process to get the full design done, and then
We have to close the road for all that period of
not
time?
during the design process.
Just as designed.
Once we go to
When the time
construction,
comes.
it's highly likely we'll have to close the road at least for periods of time, either during the workday. It depends on how the final design comes out, but kind of what we know right now, or assuming is gonna take place, there'll probably be 2 to 3 weeks we'll have to shut that road down completely.
Wow.
There is a detour around Olive Barber Road
Oh,
to
so-
Coos Bay, so there are fairly easy ways out. They're gonna cost people, another 10, 15 minutes of travel time if they're coming towards Coquille and have to loop around.
It'd be rough on our finance.
Yeah, Megan.
Is this wall up there at the north end of Ross Inlet Road?
It'd be on the south end.
On the south?
We have another one on the north end that we built 3 years ago,
Okay,
and that one's been good.
up there at that very narrow part.
Yeah, it's close to where
Right
it
across.
transitions from county to city
Yes.
maintenance.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, this is on the south end. It's only about, if you know where the intersection of Coos Sumner Lane and Ross Inlet Road are, it's
Yeah.
probably a half a mile from there, maybe 7/10.
Okay. Any comments from the audience? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 5C, request award of contract for environmental monitoring and reporting of closed landfills.
So we've been scrambling to try to get a RFP out. We didn't make it out quite fast enough to hire somebody for a longer-term contract to do our environmental monitoring at our landfills. So to meet our short-term permit requirements with DEQ, we need to hire somebody to do this fall monitoring event, which the field work has to be completed by November 30th. So we have used PBS a couple other times in the past through this Multnomah County Services contract. We reviewed that with council, and it's acceptable to use that again to have them do this one-time event this fall while while we get through the full RFP process to hire somebody under a longer-term contract for a 3 to 5 year contract. So, the request is to award the contract to PBS Engineering and Environmental for the amount of not to exceed $50,000 and authorize myself to sign, once we reach a final contract agreement, which council will review before it signs.
Okay, motion?
Move to award the contract to PBS Engineering and Environmental for an amount not to exceed $50,000 and authorize department head to finalize and sign agreement subject to approval by county council.
Okay, so I have a second?
And I second that.
Discussion?
And this would be paid for out of our closure reserves.
This is actually out of our contracted services
Oh.
line item. This is something we do every year, so at least we have the ongoing monitoring requirements.
Okay, audience? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Thank you,
right,
Paul.
Thank you.
moving on to 3D, request approval of resolution transfer appropriations and Title III funds. Megan?
On July 18th of this year, the commissioners approved the purchase of 2 vehicles out of the Title III fund. This resolution is moving appropriations from materials and services to capital outlay to cover the purchase.
Okay,
Move to approve and sign resolution 23-11-236B.
second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? None? Audience? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Request approval of resolution making additional appropriation for scent. You don't look like Sergeant Wittenberg. All right,
I'm not a school, but starting with.
Sheriff
Morning,
Gabe.
Sheriff.
Good morning, Commissioners. So as we continue our quest for grants, we went to the Cow Creek Indian Tribe and asked them if they had any grant opportunities for another vehicle, since Detective now Davis is in Scent and working with them, looking for another platform for undercover work and to enhance and continue the work in Scent, and they said there wasn't one. However, they recognized the importance of it and said, instead of a grant, we're just gonna donate you $56,000.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah, so they wrote a check.
Impressive.
Yeah, it was incredible, actually. I don't even think they deliberated for days. It was
Hmm.
a couple hours, they wrote us a check.
Impressive on
Sent it
their
over.
part and on your part.
Yeah.
We have to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, wow.
So this is, this resolution is really just requesting the commissioners, increase the appropriation amount of $56,000. This isn't to purchase the vehicle yet, we still have to go out for bids and find a vehicle, but just increase appropriations into Scent for $56,000.
Okay,
And sign resolution 23-11-237B,
is
excuse
there a
me.
motion?
Move to approve and sign resolution 23-11-237B.
No second? Discussion with the commissioners? So,
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to decide whom, the sheriff's office or us, write a nice thank you letter?
I could write something up
Or-
on both
Why,
sides.
why,
Go-
why choose?
Go together,
Yeah.
uh-huh,
I'll get something really nice for you.
okay, cool,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
Any other
Absolutely.
discussion with the board?
Thank you.
I will write a letter on the board's behalf as well, if that's agreeable to the other commissioners.
Absolutely.
Sounds good to me.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Okay.
it was really neat, really cool.
Comments from the audience? Right, okay. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the request approval resolution making additional appropriation.
Another grant. So we requested a grant through the Roundhouse Foundation. This one's for $2,500. And since, as you guys know, Scent is fully funded through grants, forfeitures, and donations, this is actually request approval for appropriations into the less than $5,000 equipment line item by $2,500. This will go towards admin supplies, paper clips, pens, everything to keep them running on that side.
Okay, motion?
I move we approve and sign resolution 23-11-238B.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Audience? No? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all righty. 3G, request adoption of sole source findings, approval of purchase of batteries and racks. Sheriff.
So this is, when we signed the original SOW, statement of work with Codan, one of the things that was not included was power options. We knew it was gonna be a phase, down the road phase, and this is, for that, this purchase to replace and set up remaining radio sites with battery backup power, as we're entering the winter months. The battery should provide approximately 9 to 12 hours of runtime at repeater sites, and up to 24 hours. We're looking at Mount Hood is one of our southernmost sites. The cost of this is approximately, right now, what we have quoted is $66,900. We're asking for expenditures up to $70,000 in case the shipping changes. It changes quite a bit. Each of these batteries, each of these 96 batteries weighs 124 pounds. They're lead filled. So, requesting the board approve board approve sole source findings and authorize expenditure of $70,000 for radio system backup batteries and racks, and this will come out of the levy fund.
Okay, motion?
I move we approve sole source findings and authorize expenditure of $70,000 for the radio system backup batteries and racks.
Your
Second.
And can you talk a little bit about the sole source?
Oh, yes, sir. So, it's Intersys. It's a company that we've used before. We have the batteries in the other sites already. We have the knowledge with the company, how to hook them up, and it's just, we know that they can ship to us, and the racks that we have are compatible with the batteries.
Good. All right.
Anything else? Rod?
Nope.
I guess you don't have to go to the gym when they come.
Just move 10
How much
batteries a day.
do they weigh? 100 and what?
124 pounds.
124 pounds.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Audience, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, request approval to purchase a vehicle. Sheriff.
Okay, another vehicle, and this is part of the contract we have with the Coquille School District for our SRO, our SRD, School Resource Deputy. Part of that contract, the 2-year, was fully funding a vehicle. So requesting the board to approve the purchase of a vehicle in the amount of $61,750 for the School Resource Deputy vehicle. Like I said, it's fully funded, and that also covers the outfitting of the vehicle.
Okay, motion?
Move to approve purchasing of the school resource deputy vehicle in the amount not to exceed $61,750.
Yeah.
Second.
Discussion? And so everybody knows the school is paying for this vehicle, right?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Mhm.
That's not out of general fund at all.
This is the Coquille School District funding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Audience? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty, Sheriff Day. Request approval to donate Surface Pros at Myrtle Point PD.
Yes, sir. So we switched over to CIS, which is Computer Information Systems. It's a new computer access dispatch record management system. Myrtle Point has Apple products, which turns out aren't very compatible with this system. So they're exploring switching over to Microsoft products. We have end-of-life products on our own. Every 5 years we switch them out, go to new ones. So requesting to donate 2 of ours so that they can basically see if it works for them. We were going to dispose of or otherwise get rid of these products anyway. So requesting approval of donation of 2 Surface Pros as serial numbers listed to Myrtle Point Police Department so they can try to integrate into this
Okay.
records
I
management
move
system.
approval of the donation of the 2 Surface Pros to the Myrtle Point Police Department.
Second.
Okay, discussion? No?
I noticed Commissioner Sweet didn't read the serial numbers.
Those were long numbers.
Yeah. Any questions from the audience? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty.
Thank you, Commissioner.
3J, award
Thanks, Sheriff.
contract for plumbing services. Oh, Amy. Morning.
Good morning, Amy.
As part of the remodel, we sent out RFQs to 7 different plumbing companies, and we only received 1 quote. So we are requesting the board to award Tri-County Plumbing with the electrical service contract not to exceed $13,000.
Okay, motion?
Move
Aye.
to award Tri-County Plumbing Contractors, Inc., the Community Development Remodel Electrical Service Contract not to exceed $13,000 and approve contract for department head signature.
May I pause you guys for 1 second?
Yeah.
I would recommend that we add, subject to council approval, at the end of that requested action. This is another situation where we don't have the contract in front of us or finalized. I don't expect there's gonna be any issue there. We'll use our standard public improvement contract there. But because we don't have it in front of us, it just would say approved contract for department head signature subject to council approval.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to amend my motion.
Yeah, well, interject here in a moment though, excuse me. Also, in the body, it says background description is with electrical service contract. And then down in the requested action, it says remodel electrical service contract. It should be plumbing, because the next one is the
Is
electrical.
electrical.
That's also correct.
I was wondering the same.
I'm going, wait a minute, how are the plumbers getting in with the electrical here? Okay, now,
Sorry.
you see what
You
I'm
wanna
talking about?
Well,
I'll withdraw my second if you withdraw and start all over
yeah,
again.
I'm gonna withdraw and start all over here,
All righty.
because this is,
So it's remodel
this is,
plumbing
this
service.
is a
Remodel
little bit of a
plumbing
mess. Okay.
Contract.
All right, move to award Tri-County Plumbing Contractors the Community Development Remodel Plumbing Service Contract not to exceed $13,000 and approve the contract for department head signature subject to county council review. How's that?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
When? When are you
When?
gonna do it?
We have to reach out to them. We are hoping as soon as possible,
Good.
but.
Now, I also have an additional question.
Okay,
Is the community development person involved with this, or is this county maintenance?
for this contract,
Yeah,
it's going to be, I believe they're doing the work, Tri-County Plumbing.
yeah. But who's in charge for the county? Is it community development, the planning director, or is it the maintenance department?
I believe it's community development.
I concur.
Yeah, so, you know, and this raises a question, I mean, the question raises a point that, you know, I'm not very happy and fuzzy with the current situation as it pertains to the relationship between planning and maintenance, and who's doing what, who's responsible for what, why do we need a permit to change a toilet, you know, that kind of stuff. And so, you know, I'm gonna be looking for some kind of improvement in that whole situation, and, you know, it's not sitting very happy with me, really.
Can I interject?
Please.
So, Jill met with council and drafted up a document that she sent out. It was either, I believe, late last week or early this week. It essentially stated that maintenance could do repairs, basic repairs like replacing toilets, replacing faucets. Maintenance was not allowed to do any electrical work, which we kind of really don't anyway. And then if we were to get into like replacing a toilet and we found like the drain stack was corroded through, at that point we would have to bring a plumber in to make those major plumbing repairs, open up walls or open up floors. The county maintenance, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not allowed to do any new installations like new plumbing or new, it was kind of, and I'm okay with that. I think that makes sense.
And that's what-
Actually, just for the record, I don't remember that conversation, but I don't disagree. I think that sounds like a good,
Demarcation.
Yeah, I thought
This
she said you reviewed some of the state laws and that there was a little ambiguity and at any rate, yeah, that was kind of it. They could make repairs, just replacements and stuff like that, but no
Yeah.
new construction, no major repairs, no electrical.
All right.
No new plumbing pipes, no new, that's pretty much what this is. It's not replacing toilets, it's installing new piping.
Yeah, okay.
And as for the contractors, I know that, our office, has been, Michelle has been working on, ensuring that Foley requirements are met for, the prevailing wage, ensuring that Foley's up to speed on these, contracts.
Okay,
Yeah, cause heaven forbid we pay something less than $110 an hour for a plumber on prevailing wage. We wouldn't wanna do anything like save the county money.
nope. Okay, any questions for,
I know, and I appreciate that, and I don't wanna
Well,
take
and
anything
I
away
think
from you
the
guys.
spirit of the spirit is that the repairs be done properly, and while our maintenance staff
Right.
is great at a lot of things,
Right.
they're not all experts at everything.
Right, and there's areas of specialty, and we've gotta have a clear line of demarcation. It's a little disappointing to me that that line of demarcation is in a place where it's going to end up costing the county more than it would if we did more things in-house, but I understand you're working with state regulations as well, and that was my prevailing wage dig, so,
okay.
yeah.
Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, oh, well, we need a motion, I guess.
He made
This-
We did that, we got it all
This
corrected and
move has
everything?
been
Yeah.
made.
Several.
We're at vote.
Alrighty, all in favor? Alright. Alright. 3K, of course, the electrical
Thank you, Darius.
services. Now we're under electrical.
Now we're on to electrical.
Yeah,
So we, sent out RFQs to 6 different electrical companies and, per the scoring, Cedar Electric and Construction scored higher than the rest, so we are requesting that the board award, Cedar Electric and Construction, Inc., the community development remodel electrical service contract not to exceed $60,000, and approve the contract for the department head signature, subject to county council.
approval by council, yeah. Okay, motion?
Move we award Cedar Electric and Construction Incorporated the Community Development Remodel Electric Service Contract not to exceed $60,000 and approve the contract for the department head's signature.
Need a second?
Subject
Oh,
To-
subject to, approval of the contract by county council.
Second.
Alright, discussion by the board? So I have a question for you. You said there were other bids, where are they? They're not listed.
That's because that's just the one that I.
Because we didn't get a summary page of the report.
That they're all, yeah, they're
Got
all,
individual
I think,
pages.
Okay. I always like to see the other ones.
they all have their own sheet, not a, the other one was a summary sheet because we only had one quote.
If you go to the intranet, there's a form to do.
Oh, I was not aware.
They are substantially different, aren't they? They're up to almost 120,000.
I'm fine.
All right, questions from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All righty. First, approval of an MOU with
Thank you, Amy.
DACS Union and authorize chair to sign HR and/or council.
Yes, so this is an amendment to, or rather a memorandum of understanding related to our collective bargaining agreement with the deputy sheriffs. In 2021, state legislature adopted House Bill 2930, which created a separate just cause standard for certain employees in law enforcement. Our CBA with the sheriff's office, it covers more than just law enforcement officers. anyway, we needed to tweak the language in the CBA to address this new standard, this new just cause standard. That's what this does. It's likely we'll also need to do a similar amendment with parole and probation officers. We'll get to that as time permits.
Okay,
I move we approve the MOU with the CADS union to amend language under the just clause standard in the CADS collective bargaining agreement and authorize the board chair to sign.
second.
Second.
Okay, discussion by the board. Just for everybody's information, this 3L that you read on the agenda here, it says DACS, it should be CADS, CADS. Okay,
Any idea what the cost will be annually?
For, related to this change,
Mhm.
Yeah.
there should be no cost.
okay. Questions by the audience? None, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, 3M, approval to pay dues for South Coast Development Council, SCDC. That would
I
be you,
guess
John.
I'm taking that one.
Yep,
Yes, South Coast Development Council is an economic development organization created quite a few years ago, at which time each of the cities often had their own economic development person. The county occasionally had an economic development person, and they all kind of came and went. There seemed to be no rhyme or reason to why we had that many of them around. So, an organization called South Coast Development Council was formed to draw together all these people, all these different entities, so that instead of funding each their own, they contributed to one economic development person to operate on behalf of the entire county. Since that time, multiple private organizations and individuals have joined in supporting this person. Banks and other organizations that benefit from increased economic activity in the area have joined in. It has, like most economic development organizations, they don't draw someone in every day of the week. They do handle a lot of requests that are funneled to the county area by the state. They tend to operate with the smaller enterprises as opposed to the ports working with people like Jordan Cove and the people that are talking about a container terminal. I feel they offer a good service, and I move that we approve payment of annual dues to SCDC in the amount of $12,000 to come out of our Economic Development Fund, which is, in turn, is funded by the lottery, state lottery, right?
Second.
okay, discussion?
Yeah, a couple of things that they've done, or one most notably, just to back up, again, as I said, they don't draw new people to the county every day of the year. But the most notable one in the last several years has been GMA Garnett, a firm that's based out of Australia with a U.S. office in Houston, Texas, and they moved their facility from Stockton, California to Coos Bay, and they bring in shiploads of garnet shards, little tiny pieces of garnets that they mine in either Australia or South Africa, ship them to Coos Bay. They run them through a facility here where they dry them, further clean them, and sell them, distribute them throughout the western United States for the purpose of sandblasting and water jet cutting. It's a recyclable project. It's so hard, unlike other sandblasting mediums, it doesn't disintegrate, so they're able to use it over and over again. So it's a nice little business. I think it currently employs 30 or 40 people, all family wage jobs. They're responsible for getting ship traffic back up to the upper part of the bay, in Coos Bay. So that, an illustration of that's kind of a home run that SCDC hit. They don't often get something like that. I was personally involved, and a realtor called me and said, I don't know where to go to get support to help these people look around the area and find out what they need to do and how to get permits. And I said, I know just the person, and so the fellow that was the head of SADC at the time put it together, and the people from the Houston office, their U.S. president came up, and in one visit, he pretty much had it secured, and then he continued to work through the problems with it. So it's a good little organization. As I said, it doesn't often, you don't see results very often, but it's important to have them, I believe. So I moved, if I haven't already, that
You
would,
did.
I did?
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you have a second? After all,
Yeah, I did second.
okay. Any other discussion? Audience? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 3N, request approval to increase stipend for the district attorney, Mr. Paul Frazier.
Actually, I'll be presenting this one.
Okay.
So this is pursuant to conversations with the district attorney. There's a situation where, unfortunately, the state actually pays the district attorneys in each county. And they have a calculus that they utilize where the district attorneys in larger counties are actually paid more than the ones in smaller counties, which is completely bass-ackwards, because the fact of the matter is, Madam Governor, that small county district attorneys have a heavier workload than district attorneys in larger counties do. This is due to finances and staffing. So, you know, anybody who can't figure that out really needs to go back to some basic education. The fact of the matter is that we do not have an adequate pay structure to incent a qualified district attorney candidate, and our current district attorney is going to retire at the end of next year. If we do not have proper financial incentives to move a qualified candidate to file for that office, then we could end up in a situation where we end up with a governor-appointed district attorney in Coos County. Now, if anybody in this room thinks that a Kate Brown-appointed district attorney in Coos County is a good idea, then I'd love to hear from you later, but I think it's a very bad idea, and therefore we need to increase the stipend that we use to augment the state-paid salary for the district attorney. We need to increase that by $7,000 annually, and I believe, in fact, I know that that will get us a qualified candidate, at least one qualified candidate on the ballot. And so, Mr. Chair, I move to authorize an increase in the district attorney's salary stipend by $7,000 annually.
A second?
I second that.
Okay. Now, you meant Governor Kotek, didn't you?
What did I say?
Brown.
Whatever.
In the moment, huh? All right, so I have the greatest admiration for our district attorney, Paul Frazier. He does an amazing work. He's been here forever. He currently, in starting this July, he got a $10,000 raise through the county on our stipend part, because he only gets 131 or 2 from the state. So we raised it from 15 to 25, 128 in July, which makes it about 156,000 and change. This additional will bring it obviously, to about 163 or so. I'm having real issues because I explained to him twice that I said I wouldn't bring this forward because we're looking at a $4 million shortfall in the general fund for 24-25. And we can't just keep giving raises to folks because we might think that whoever might run won't run because they might have to take a pay cut. And 7,000 between 163 and 156 is like, yeah, so what, to me. So I have real problems with this in our looming shortfall that's coming up. Now, hopefully, the voters would pass a increase to support the jail and the sheriff and the DA. We can't be assured of that, but I would kind of like to wait until we find out what the election does before we do this. Just my thoughts. And again, DA Frazier is probably one of the best DAs in the whole state of Oregon. I can't say enough about the job he does. He does an amazing job with the staff he has, and he's really short-handed. He has 4 out of 7 DDAs right now, Deputy District Attorneys. He can't find one, even though we increased the salaries for those DDAs, still can't find another one besides 3. It's not looking good. And when, apparently, in talking to him, when we raised the salary to 80-some thousand for DDAs, Washington County was at 85, they went to 100. They're just outspending us and grabbing up who's ever available out there. It's a bad situation, because we need those DDAs to amend certain people's ways. John?
In view of all the frustration I think that department is going through, largely because of our not having competitive pay, Bob brings up or Commissioner Maine brings up a really good point. But we have to have a functioning district attorney's office. And to that end, I'm quite sympathetic to the plight of the DA in trying to hire and maintain staff. I do hope that come spring, there'll be a new crop of attorneys being available, and that we'll have kind of a hiring season opportunity to fill our ranks. But I certainly, for $7,000, if it can ease the pain over there, I'm going to vote yes.
Okay, anything from the audience? Seeing none, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Okay. I need an approval for the consent calendar.
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have one late agenda, so we have to vote to have a late to begin
I
with.
move we hear a late agenda item.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is
Okay, and the
pursuant-
late agenda item is?
This is pursuant to a conversation that we had in executive session regarding the sale of the Bologna 101 property, the Bologna Boys Ranch 101 property. The current property lines on that parcel do not include the water system that is integral to the property. In order to facilitate its sale, we need to move that property line so that the water treatment plant, the water uptake out of Davis Creek are all included in that property line. Oh, and also the water storage tank, if there is one up the hill apparently. So we are requesting an action to direct forestry, land manager, land agent, and planning staff to initiate property line adjustment at the south end of that Bologna 101 property to achieve the state objectives there.
I second that motion.
Okay. Now, there was discussion about a water tank on the east line too.
Yeah, you talked about that.
Is that included in this proposed
Uh,
adjustment?
It's not, but we can actually just, jot that in, as well as the, let's say, plus the water tank, okay?
Okay, so
And
you
you
wanna.
didn't mention it in your motion.
I did mention it in the
Okay,
motion,
all righty.
yes.
Okay, any other discussion? Audience? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Commission reports. Who wants to be first, besides me? I guess, I need to bring up about the proposed marsh expansion for Winter Lake proposed by ODF&W to convert 580 more acres of farm ground to marsh. 2 weeks ago or so, I listened to the recorded presentation by ODF&W to the House Natural Resources Committee. When House Natural Resources asked if they had talked to local folks, they said, yes, we have, and we've talked to the commissioners. The Natural Resources Committee of the legislature didn't ask what anybody said. And ODF&W didn't volunteer either. Interesting. They had, ODF&W, one of the regional biologists and their manager from Roseburg were in my office earlier this year talking about this and asking what I thought, and I said, I do not favor this one bit. We don't need more land put into what's basically, my opinion, is another bass fishery, because it gets too warm in the summertime to habitate anything else, and any more mosquitoes. And everybody that lives around there, including way up the hill where I live over here in Coquille, has mosquito problems now. Because what they're doing in that unit that they already have, they have what is known as a muted tidal regulator. It lets out too much water when it comes in, rains a lot, and it lets in water when it evaporates, so it keeps it basically at a static level, sort of. Which, to me, allows the water to warm up, and it's not great for salmon anyway, because they won't go into stagnant water in the first place. So I don't know what they're talking about when they're gonna, quote, raise salmon. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm asking the board here if it'd be okay if I wrote a letter to the legislature in ODF&W, and I don't know if the ODF&W talked to either one of you,
They talked to me.
and say, we're not in favor of this. What do you think?
I don't agree
With,
with our getting involved.
oh,
And the reason I don't agree is that the owner of that land should have the right to sell his property to whomever he pleases. I don't wanna get in the business of denying a landowner the right to sell his or her land just because I don't agree with the use that the new buyer may or may not make of that land.
okay, I agree if it's another private party that buys it, but they're using our money to buy it.
Again, I feel very strongly about property rights, and I don't think that we should get in the business of telling someone he can't sell his property to this organization or that organization or this person or that person. It stops right there as far as I'm concerned.
So ODF&W also spoke with me. They made it sound quite rosy for the prospects of public access to the land. And I told them that everything they said sounded all rosy and wonderful, but that I would take it under consideration. At this juncture now where consideration is whether to support or not, I appreciate what you're saying, Commissioner Sweet, about the freedom to sell as a property owner would desire. But I do think that there is a proper role for the Board of Commissioners to play in this, to have a voice in this process for two reasons. Number one, because this is the use of public money. This is our tax money at the state level to purchase back land or to purchase land that's located in our county and remove it from the tax rolls, which is a substantial consideration. And so I think that we do have an appropriate role, while of course, as I stated, being sensitive to the role of property rights and liberty in this situation. But I think we do have a role, and I would approve of that letter and sign on to it.
Okay. Anything else? No?
Again, we don't know, I don't know, that government money was used to purchase this.
Mhm.
Could very well be grant money.
They
There are a
haven't
lot-
purchased it yet.
Okay, a lot of organizations that do that. My understanding was that it would be multiple use, grazing and environment. So I prefer not to be signed onto that letter.
So, at the hearing, they were going to get most of the funding from NOAA, the federal government, for this project, which is of course our money.
Yeah.
Different
I
from the
detect-
tax
And there was
dollars.
about $1 million coming from the Nature Conservancy also. But the big bulk of it was coming as a requested grant from NOAA through ODF&W. Anything else? No? Okay, audience? Yes, sir. Come on up. We need your name and general location where you live.
My name is Mark Daly, and I live in Coos Bay.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Morning.
Morning. Is this land designated as wetlands now?
No, it's farm ground.
Okay, so they would be essentially designating it as wetlands by
Well,
doing
no,
this?
they would convert it to wetlands.
Yeah, well, what I'm wondering is this not an opportunity, because oftentimes there's little patches of wetland around that are problems for developers, and they need to find, create other wetlands or designate them, as wetlands, in order to develop the property they're interested in. Is there a way in which this being designated as wetlands can be used as an offset for other development within the county?
I'm not, well, it would have to be for the benefit of the seller.
Well, it could be as
They're-
well, yeah,
they're
I mean, they
located-
could have a chit to sell, with regard to the wetlands issue.
If I remember correctly, the seller is in Eugene, Springfield area.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I know it's
Mhm.
often a issue trying to
Right.
find
point.
some place to designate, so I just thought it'd be worth looking into.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Phil, come on up.
Phil Thompson, Coos Bay. I'm a little bit lost. Where's this property exactly at, Bob?
It adjoins the current marsh on the south side. Almost right across from where Garden Valley Road is, across the highway.
Okay.
As you go past Garden Valley and do the turn before it goes to 4 lanes, that is the ODF&W current marsh, between that and the cedar mill. But just back this way, kind of across from where the stanchions are for loading of cattle, that out there is what they're talking about. It's 580 acres.
Formerly owned by F. Willis Smith and
All kinds
sold
of
it
people, yeah.
to Charlie Waterman, who sold it to a fella from Northern California who didn't have much green grass to work with down in his neck of the woods. He liked it, and apparently he's now sold it.
That was part of the big problem we had earlier when over that, the whole marshland there up in Garden Valley and stuff, right? Well, my thing sort of borders with John, which I hate to admit I agree with him. But,
Wouldn't mind
if you
me
own
too, Phil.
property, a private property owner should be able to sell who he wants to. And the other thing is, why do we have a planning commission? They should decide what's what, shouldn't they? On anything, I thought the planning commission was the one to decide.
Not always.
No.
Well, that's the reason I'm asking you this question.
It depends on the current zone of the property and what its allowed uses are, whether outright permitted or permitted by a hearing, etc. And I don't know what those allocated uses are. I know it's EFU by the assessor's office, exclusive farm use, which has a huge tax break.
I'd also like to point out that, that the writing of a letter in opposition to this sale does not have any force of law. We don't have any legal standing to preclude this sale, so that's not really an intrusion on anybody's rights. We're just saying that those of us who would sign on to this letter, we're just saying that we think it's a bad idea. So, you know, it's not limiting anybody's rights in reality.
And it's sort of like
Go ahead.
when we did the proclamation to Bohm, we weren't in favor of having wind energy, or we're not in favor of Measure 110, the drug anything goes policy. We sent that off. It's our opinion as to what we think about these various ideas running around the county.
And I understand that, and I understand what you're saying, but when you're using the Board of Commissioners as their written recommendation or whatever, you're talking for the whole county unless you let the county say, or you have a special meeting or something that says which way would the people want to go. I know we elect you guys to make decisions, but sometimes you shouldn't make them yourself. The other people should be involved.
This is not going to be the last meeting about this. This is only to write what we think about it, and then it's going to present it in a full board meeting for people to comment on.
One other comment I'd like to make, Phil, is that I base my decisions on issues like this on what my perception is of the temperature of the people of Coos County. And, you know, and I am not out here trying to exercise my own will in opposition to what a majority view would be in the county. I see my role as being a bold voice to support, enhance, and uphold that majority view of the people of this county. And so at any point that I need to adjust my position in order to accommodate that principle, then that's what I'll do.
And I don't know how many meetings we've had where we've basically filled up the room with people who are inundated with mosquitoes this past year. and in past years, ever since they converted that out there. When you've got people, all the people up Garden Valley and around North Bank Road and out here past the dike and clear up Fat Elk, all upset about the invasion of millions of mosquitoes, I'm wondering, to me, I just see this as getting more exacerbated and more mosquitoes.
I don't like mosquitoes either, I'm just telling you, my viewpoints, and I thank you guys.
All righty,
Thank you,
anybody
Phil.
else? Okay, do we have a vote for whether we write a letter to ODFW and the legislature on our views about this?
Do we have a
Motion yet? I can't remember, we got off on so many
Well,
things.
you were gonna get a late agenda, I agree with that.
We have not had a motion on that, but
Okay.
we don't have an agenda item for it,
No.
so
I'm just wondering if I should bring this back next time.
I would say yes.
Okay, it's just a open discussion thing.
I think you're.
Because
free
we
to do the
can't
agenda item.
do this
Yeah.
amongst ourselves without a public meeting, so.
Right.
Okay, so I'll write something up and then we'll just put it on the agenda for next time.
And we would certainly welcome public comment on the topic because, you know, we're here to serve all of you.
Okay, and then I have one more comment or question. As you heard, and multiple times now over the last few months, we're about $4 million short coming into next year's budget. The word in the county is there's a whole bunch of people wanting raises out over and above the contractual amount with their union, et cetera. Most of these people are non-union, they're mid-level managers, et cetera. Apparently, they're all gearing up to come before the board and all want raises before the end of next year, which is the end of June. I'm thinking we need a work session to talk about a possible freeze other than contractual raises and or overtime outside of the normal, their normal work period or their normal job duties. If we wanna set one of those work sessions. Cause this whole raise thing is starting to get out of hand.
That'd be a good idea.
I agree. We have.
Okay, so
very
we'll set it up
limited-
hopefully for next week sometime,
Sure.
Next,
looking at our office manager. Where we have everybody together. Okay, so that's what I have. Who's next?
I got monkey business.
Oh, well, normally.
Then we can close on business. Each year at Halloween time, we've had a tradition of a little competition amongst some of our departments, and the departments members dress up and decorate their offices, and it's kind of a fun time. We give awards, and this year there was only one person that was doing the grading, and I had the privilege of doing that. So I'm gonna give out the awards. We're not buying pizza or anything for the people that got the awards, because everyone in one way or another got an award. And I think I had the best reward, just being able to go around and seeing what our people are hardworking. And once in a while, they need a break in the office to do something with themselves, among themselves, and I think it's, I get a kick out of the enthusiasm with which they approach this. So we have, I wish everyone that were involved were here today, but maybe we can get word to them. I'll give this list to Bobby, we can put it out. I can't describe the costumes and do justice to it, but I can tell you what the awards are. And so the best old timers were Mike Rowley and Eric Gleason of Coos Health and Wellness. Each year they take delight in coming up with some really, really clever costumes, and so they did that well. The best costume non-old timer was another Mike from Coos Health and Wellness, Mike Pellis, who dressed up as Captain Hook. We had 2 costume awards for the ladies. The nicest costume award goes to Victoria Kalamkova of Coos Health and Wellness for a really grand gown that she wore. The frumpiest female costume award went to our treasurer.
Is that a coveted award category?
Well, it could be a new one. She took a lot of pains
Frumpiest or
to do
grumpiest?
it. Going on down the list, there was one department that they looked absolutely mean. And ironically, they are. It's our finance department. But Megan differentiated herself by being frumpy that day rather than mean. Not that she can't be mean.
Just
The
switch
clerk's
one letter.
office, we're all dressed up in pink little girl outfits, whether they were girl or not. So they got the cutest costume award. The assessor's office had nice costumes. We tried to get a picture. I swear it took about 10 minutes to get them lined up. So their award was the slowest lining up for pictures award. At Coos Health and Wellness, the front zoo, or the front desk, the front desk was made into a zoo. And they had, pictures of bars, and everyone in there was dressed as an animal. So they got the best zoo award. Lena Hawkins of our Coos Health and Wellness office, a nurse there, was dressed as a giraffe. She's about this tall, so she got the shortest giraffe award. Pirates, people like to be pirates. We had the best pirate cruise were the crisis team at Coos Health and Wellness and the CVA team in the main building. Then WIC, Women, Infants, and Children, that do home calls. They were all dressed up as hippies, complete with a Volkswagen van. So they got the best hippie award. And then Karen Frazier in our personnel office had a great big nose and a big mustache, and so she got the best lady with mustache award. And that concludes our holiday, our Halloween awards.
So, I had an interesting experience at last week at my first ever annual Association of Oregon Counties annual meeting. And there were a number of topics of gravity covered in various meetings throughout that conference. Primarily of interest to me were conversations around the O&C forest lands and the county forest trust lands. And actually came away fairly encouraged about legal prospects that we have going forward as the O&C case moves forward to, it's going to go to the Supreme Court at some point. And I do believe that we'll prevail there. And I'm hopeful and will be advocating for some retroactive payments to come as an outplay from that eventuality. So hope to see that. One event that was much touted, it's of little political consequence, but it can be of some economic consequence, and that is the Taste of Oregon event that happens on the Thursday night of this conference. And every county brings food and drink products from their county in order to promote tourism. And we were very pleased. My wife Nicole did yeoman's work pulling together food products and organizing this for us, and we got rave reviews. We had smoked salmon from Farm and Sea in Bandon. We had saltwater taffy from Cranberry Sweets, which is located in Bandon and Empire. We had pepperoni sticks from the meat cutting room here in Coquille. We had flower arrangements from Checkerberries in Coos Bay. We had, let's see, I don't want to forget anybody. I know I'm holding one out here. I can't think of what another one would have been, but we did, the hit of the night was definitely the Shark Bites margaritas. So we had Shark Bites make up some of their margarita mix for us, and we, of course, didn't add the goodies into it until we got there, and we had a server available from the hotel, and the repeats through our margarita line were amazing. And everybody said,
Really?
even though there were 3 counties serving margaritas, everybody came back and said ours were the best by a long shot. So congratulations to Brian there at Shark Bites. If you haven't been there to have a Shark Bites margarita, I highly recommend it.
So that's what they all said, all 3 of them?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because actually one of those other counties came over and said, I heard you guys have the best margaritas here. So
They wanted
that
some
was-
too, huh?
That was true. One last topic of a little more gravity that I wanted to touch on was yesterday on the Rob Taylor report. In the last hour, our state senator, David Brock Smith, was interviewed. I use the term interview loosely because it was actually more like a grilling, and the questions circled around 2 issues, really. The first issue was House Bill 3775 that David Brock Smith initiated when he was in the House, and what that meant for advocacy or opposition to the offshore wind energy project. And the allegation that was proposed in this interview was that the bill actually supports offshore wind energy at the same time that David Brock Smith is verbally saying he's opposed to it. In attempting to explain his strategy, Senator Smith was repeatedly cut off and not allowed to fully explain in an understandable way what his strategy was, which, as I understood it, from what he was able to say, his strategy was, since there was a profound Democrat majority in the House and in the Senate at the time that this bill was introduced by him, that he felt it would be a better tack, rather than opposing offshore wind, which would never have made it to the floor for a vote even. He thought it would be better to advocate for concerns and pros and cons about the project. And he thought that in doing so, he would be able to facilitate the arguments to be brought in a public forum that would ultimately kill the project. Now, you can argue with the strategy, but whether it was a good strategy or not, but that was his explanation, and it was not understood. The second point of the interview, major point of the interview, was concerning, I think, $150,000 in donations that Senator Smith has received from an individual in Curry County, and whether that was indicative of some kind of corrupt intent or something like that. The fact is that the monies were received in a number of tranches of $25,000 contributions, and Senator Smith was absolutely not afforded an opportunity to explain fully what this was. And so the show ended yesterday on a very sour note, I thought, with this air of suspicion around Senator Smith that I felt was unfortunate. You can't take a couple of facts and extrapolate a conclusion out of those. The sheriff will be the first one to tell you here that when you see things that indicate, that could be indicative of something bad, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something bad. You have to dig and find the realities that underlie these facts and link the whole thing together and understand the complexity of it before you bring charges. And in this case yesterday, I think that it was very unfortunate that our senator, who's working very hard to represent us, and I think doing so very ably, was not afforded the opportunity in a forum where he really should have been. And so while the interviewers are both people that I consider friendly, I don't think that interview was friendly. It was very unfortunate, and I was very sad to see it. So I hope that we can do better on that front. It's not exactly county business, but it is in a way. So that's all I have.
All righty. Citizen comments. Phil Thompson. What? Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
It's cold in here.
Is it?
I'm glad you have a jacket, Carol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bundling up. Carol Yardley from North Bend. I listened to the Rob Taylor show, and I guess I have a question. It seemed like the 150,000 came from companies associated with China.
So, you want me to answer that?
Well, yeah, because
Okay.
that was
Right, so.
what I picked up.
Okay, so that's not exactly true. The 150,000 came from a Curry County resident whose name escapes me. But basically, this gentleman, my understanding is that he became very animated about David Brock Smith's political excursions when he was a Coos County or a Curry County commissioner. And this was around his advocacy for removing the child support enforcement burden from the county and moving it to the state, and also had something to do with the creation of a care house for abused children in an interim period when they're removed from an abusive situation. And so as a result of these advocacies, this gentleman decided to start supporting David Brock Smith and made a number of $25,000 campaign contributions. Senator Smith's assertion is that out of all of those monies, he only used about $10,000 of that, and the rest of those monies were passed on to other Republicans in more vulnerable districts that really needed the campaign finance support. I haven't gone to vet out that claim, but I have no reason to suspect that it's not true. Senator Smith is not known to me to make proclamations that are verifiably false in the public record. So very easy to go and confirm that. The China part of it was that Senator Smith, when he was a Curry County commissioner, advocated at the state and federal level for regulatory changes that would enhance the free trade of cranberries to China, and that as a result, that those changes affected not only the export of cranberries, but also cherries and grapes, and I think, or a couple of other ag products from throughout the state. And so, so it wasn't dealing with Chinese companies, other than he did make a trip to China to conduct this advocacy with, you know, potential purchasers of these products. But this was all started back in 2017, 2018, when actually President Trump was also working to increase trade with China. It was before things kind of turned bad. So, so that's the response to that question.
Yeah, well, it was a very interesting
Yeah.
segment, no question of that.
Hmm.
It just, there seems to be some real confusion here.
Mhm.
And that's where my concern is.
And I've always observed that when there's confusion, it's generally a good idea to let people finish their sentences
Yeah.
before you trounce back in on them in an inquisition without allowing them to answer.
Yeah, and I hear that, but I thought that was pretty equaled out because I never heard him answer the question. What I heard him was talk about other things that he's done, which were good, you know, and by all means need to be acknowledged. The whole thing was a little unsettled, all the way around. I wouldn't say it was one way or the other, but, sometimes I guess things like that happen and it's live radio.
Hmm.
You know, so, that was just what I was kind of curious about, and I have to put my vote on, let's wait and see, because it looks like, as I understood it, the connection there with China was just an offset thing, and I don't believe there was any accusation made against him. I thought I heard 2 or 3 times that that was not the intent. But obviously, everybody had strong opinions, and everybody really was talking over each other. And that included everyone, which included our senator. So that doesn't allow you to get a clear understanding as far as just somebody sitting back listening.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you all. We are adjourned.